Hello. Hi guys, how's it going? We're supposed to start this session at 3:30, but we are waiting a little bit more so more people can join in. It would be amazing if you guys could also share your screen with me so I'm not speaking by myself. And if you could share also in the chat or even turning on your mic, where you're from, and also the languages that you speak, that would be amazing to know. Hi, Ali from Turkey, I see. Nice having you here today. Again, guys, we're going to be waiting a little bit more, so we have more people joining in. I see Esme here saying, does that work? So can I put the camera? That's totally fine. From the Netherlands, awesome. So I see you guys are coming from very different places. Niels from Spain. Hi, Niels. Also here in Spain, we're located in Barcelona. Francini from Portugal. Barcelona as well, awesome. All right, guys, we're going to be waiting 2 more minutes. So for those who have not introduced themselves yet, if you can, of course, and would like to turn on your camera, then make sure to do so. So I'm not here by myself. Also, thank you for those who have added in the chat where you're coming from. It would be amazing to know also the languages that you speak. I see that some of you are coming from Spain, Barcelona, and Galicia. Some are coming from the Netherlands, from Turkey, from Portugal. So I have quite a good mix here, I see. We're going to be waiting 1 more minute so we can start the presentation. Gabriela from Germany, Sweden, I see here, Andrea. Great, guys. We have quite a good mix. Perfect. Hello, Khaled. Thank you so much for enabling your video.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Fine, and you?
Good, good. Thank you. We're going to begin soon.
Thank you.
All right. All right, maybe I'll start sharing where this webinar is coming from at all, right? So you can see my screen here. Yeah, all right. So I'm Erica. I work for Europe Language Jobs. All of you probably already know us, but very quickly to introduce ourselves, we're a platform focused on multilingual candidates. So those looking for opportunities abroad with their native languages. This webinar today, how to write an Eye-Catchy CV, is part of our 7th edition on the 30 days to get a job, the challenge. So you can see here, for those who have not yet signed up, my colleague Lucina, which is also participating in this event right now, will be adding the link in the chat. Also, if you guys are having any issues listening to what I'm saying, or maybe connection issues, please stop me at any time so we can get this solved. So basically this event lasts 30 days. It started the 3rd of this month of October, and we'll be going over many interesting topics. So including webinars, workshops. Some of you already participated in our lives last week. We have some more coming up with very spicy topics on career themes. So apart from webinars and workshops, we're sending daily newsletters with exclusive career guidance that's coming from blogs. And we also have activities to make sure that you guys are following. If you have any questions, then make sure to always ask us at candidates@europelanguagejobs.com. And here you can see some of our career coaches that will be participating, sharing some of their experience with you. But most importantly, all of the topics that we'll be covering are here. So they can be found in the platform if you have any questions. So bi-weekly, so week 1, 2, 3, and 4. So themes about networking, job applications, interviews, cover letter, CV. So for instance, right now we'll be going over how to write a catchy CV. All right, now let me go to the presentation. So this presentation, guys, shouldn't last more than 30 minutes. I mostly want to tell you and to show you what is it that has to be included in a CV and open up for questions, because we're all coming from different countries and some of the questions you have will differ also based on your sector, what is it that you want to apply. And I'm going to do my best to answer all of your guys' questions here. All right, one more time, you can see my screen, correct? Perfect. All right, so today we're going to be going over how to write an eye-catchy CV. Again, why are we presenting this? So Europe Language Jobs as a platform works with many multinational companies coming from all over Europe wanting to hire multilingual talent. And because of that, we're in touch with many different recruiters who have different needs, right? And they're looking for different profiles. So we receive a lot of feedback coming from both from you guys that are applying to offers with questions, and also with some feedback from the recruiters hiring. So what is it that they expect to have in the CV, to find in their CVs? So today's agenda is to go over CV, some do's and don'ts. We're going to be going over also some top secrets to stand out. And we're going to also go over some real life examples so that you guys can see a little bit more in a visual way, what is it that we need to include and things that we definitely should not. All right, very quickly. So some do's and don'ts. What is it that you guys say like 100%, this is something that I need to include in my CVs? So if you guys want to unmute yourselves, or if you want to write down in the chat, feel free to do so.
Well, what the question, sorry?
Yeah, so the question is things that you definitely should add in your CV, things that you cannot miss.
Okay, my experience, I believe, my professional experience.
Your work experience, of course. Definitely. Here I see Francine as well from Portugal saying relevant achievements. Of course. So like maybe certificates as well, awards, right? Or things related to your sector. Internship, definitely, especially if you don't have a lot of full-time job experience, you should definitely add your internships. Personal information, Elif said. So what kind of personal information should we include, Elif? If you want to mute yourself to let us know.
Maybe the address, the phone number, and yes, LinkedIn, as Elif mentioned.
Okay, let's see what he said. Okay, email, yes. So we're going to see that when it comes to the address, it is interesting to always add our location, because sometimes the recruiter wants to know if we're already based in the country, if we are located in, I don't know, somewhere that's close by. It's always interesting, but we do not need to include the exact address. So this is interesting to know. So here other people are saying educational background, definitely LinkedIn, like also Khaled mentioned. Elif saying email, nails as well, definitely, and phone number, of course. So emails and phone numbers are some of the most important things, because that's exactly how the recruiter will reach out, right? Okay, so let's go over here in the next slide. All right, so what do I need to have in my CV? Exactly, guys. So main thing is the contact information. So we need to make sure that we have our name, our email, phone number, LinkedIn account, and if you have a specific website with a portfolio, and like Khaled was mentioned, the location. Again, here I'm going to stress the importance that you do not need to write down the entire address where you live, also for security purposes, but just to know, just because sometimes the recruiter wants to know where you're located. And if you don't feel comfortable, then you may add the continent or the country overall, or a zip code or something like that. Okay, the second part is a photo. This one is a little bit contradicting because some countries, they do accept the photos and some they don't at all. Some say that it's not mandatory, but it is recommendable. So this one we're going to see a little bit like moving forward, if it's something that it's a must or not. So that depends on every single one of you guys. We have 20 participants here in the chat, and I'm sure that not all of you will be applying to the same country, right? All right, so we had other people in the chat saying that adding experience is also very important, right? So of course, so what kind of experience? And here we have professional experience, we have educational background, but in the experience, what we can have, it depends, of course, in the amount of years of experience that you've had. Also, if you're a student, that will differ, right? So let's say you're applying for an entry-level position, that means that most likely you do not have a lot of experience when it comes to full-time jobs, but maybe you had internships, or maybe you didn't have internships yet and you're looking for an internship, and what you can add are volunteering opportunities that you've had, or classes that you've done in university and projects that you've been part of. So always mentioning the goals of the project, what was your intake in it, and things that you've learned with it, right? So we have here students in the chat that I'm sure, and we also have entry-level, mid-level, senior-level professionals. So when it comes to the education, here we do not need to add all of it. We do not need to add kindergarten. We don't need to add high school. So we can add bachelor's, we can add master's, PhD. Sometimes, depending on the country that we will see, they also ask about high school if it's a specific focused one. So if it's like a tech high school or something related, so something very specific. When it comes to skills, we always need to include skills, but here we have soft and technical skills. And when it comes to that, it's very interesting because while some countries, they value soft and technical skills, so soft and hard skills, some countries, they only value one or the other. And very importantly, especially because, again, we're working for Europe language jobs, we see the importance of having and knowing many languages. Please add your languages, guys. This is very, very important. Add the level that you speak. Not necessarily need to add a certificate that you have, but if you do have one, then make sure to add it in there. Of course, the interviewer will see it, but if it's a language that's very important, that's mandatory, then they will most likely interview you also in that language or have a specific test. But most of the time, for what we see, is that if you have a B1 above level, then you have to make sure to add it in there. All right. So moving forward, most common mistakes. So here we have highlighted some very common ones, and some of them are going to be like, yes, of course. But most people, and this is some of the feedback that we received the most from the multinationals. So let's take a quick look. The first one is to add inappropriate email address. So what do we mean by that? So in an email, it's important that they can see maybe your name, your last name, or something like general, right? We don't want to see something like mypuppy08@gmail.com or something like that, right? You want to have a professional email. Another thing is make sure to double check, and this goes for the bullet point number 2 and 3, your information. So sometimes you're going to see, checking back in your CV, that maybe you added an extra letter in your email, or that your phone number is not correct. So because of that, a recruiter will not be able to reach out to you directly. So make sure to double check that. And I know that sounds very foolish, but it's not. And of course, also adding grammatical mistakes in your CV will make you not look so good, especially if you're about to apply to a position, I don't know, in perhaps communications or copywriting or any really position. So make sure that it is clear, it is correct, and grammatically good to go. Okay, now the other point, the fourth one, is also an interesting one because we're going to see that some countries, they don't mind if you have 2 pages in your CV. Some of them say 1 specifically. So here we say that more than 2 pages is normally not advisable. So you should be able to have everything that you need to say in 2 pages. Guys, if you're applying for an internship, if you're applying to an entry-level position, you should not have more than one page. Okay, so just stressing that, because why am I saying this? Not because I'm being mean, but because the recruiters, they do not check the CVs, like all of them, like all the way down. They don't have time for this, especially the multinational ones working for multinational companies. Okay, what else? Unorganized information. So you want to make sure that your information is properly set in your CV, right? So we have the contact information, we have professional one, and then we have educational one, and of course, adding your most recent experience to the oldest one. What else? We want to make sure it's clear, guys, so no need to have a very fancy or weird fonts. So we want to make sure that the recruiter can read it properly and have the eye on your CV and see it right away. Untailored CV, that one goes very similarly with the usage of CV templates. So an untailored CV means that you're using the same CV with the same information for all of the job descriptions that you're applying. So it's very important that you do not need to have, guys, 10 CVs if you're going to apply to 10 different job offers. But it's important that every CV has keywords, very important, like words that they mention in the job description that could interest the recruiter. Or if you're very good in like different sectors within, I don't know, marketing, and you're applying for branding and copywriting, you're going to have a CV for that. If you're applying to Google Ads and something else, you're going to have a different CV. So basically, we want to make sure that every CV looks like it's made for that specific offer, right? And so using CV templates makes every CV kind of the same. So imagine the recruiter seeing the same CV all over again. So make sure to stand out, make sure that you have your own CV, that it reflects who you are, that it reflects how important and how much you want this job that you're applying to. Okay, let's move forward. All right, so secret tips to stand out. They are secret, but they're not that secret. Why, guys? Because here, you probably heard this many times. You will also see in the blogs that we'll be sharing with you through the newsletter. Also, if you don't remember every single one of these, don't worry, because we are recording this presentation. But here are some secret tips and very easy ones to remember. So the first one is, when you have your CV, make sure to add a summary of yourself, of who you are. If you don't want to add a summary, which is normally 2-3 sentences, you can also add the positions that you're interested in. So this is a way for the recruiter to hit your CV, check exactly, like right away, see what you're interested in and who you are. Another thing, a lot of people, they upload their CVs or they apply using Word format. So this is not very recommendable, and the recruiters, they do not like it. They prefer to have one in PDF format, okay? Some of them say Word is okay, but again, guys, remember that Word document means that other people can edit it. So again, make sure to have a PDF format. This is the most preferred one. Another thing, stick to one page max. Again, guys, you need to be able to catch the recruiter's eye in one page, like right away, in the first page normally. And very, very important, who knows what is ATS? Does anyone know what ATS is? Let's see if we have anyone in the chat mentioning. Would anyone like to take a guess? Application tracking system. So what does that mean, Francini? No one? Yes, exactly. Okay. So basically, it's a program, it's a software that allows companies, normally the biggest ones, so the ones that we normally want to work for, they use those systems. And what does that mean? That they select specific keywords, which are words that they are very interested in. So for instance, again, I don't know, we were talking about marketing here. So me as a recruiter, I want to have someone that's good in communication. So that's going to be a keyword. I'm interested in someone that knows how to work in a team. So like teamwork. And I'm interested in someone that knows how to deal with Google Analytics. So those are the keywords that they set up. Normally, these keywords, guys, can be found in the job description, and you can add them in your experiences in your CV. So those are words that this specific system set up for this job offer that you're applying to. This means that this system will be tracking those words. So if your CV doesn't have any of them or synonyms, that means that maybe the system will not catch your CV. And because of that, just because of that, you might not be selected for the first interview or for a second phase of the screening session. I know it's very upsetting. Not all companies use it. We're going to see it soon, but most do. And so because we know that, this is a very, very important thing, guys. And this is why we're saying about tailoring your CV, just to be sure that you have some of these words around in your resume, okay? All right, let's continue. All right, so here we have some examples of what not to do. So those are not real CVs or Europass, but I want you guys to interact with me a little bit, right? So why is this not a good CV? Oh. Anyone?
I guess no one is interested about Viber, for example.
Exactly.
And the photo is not clear. Is a passport photo, I think, or
Yes, exactly.
ID card.
Yes, and Liv agrees with you. Photo is not clear. What else, guys?
Facebook is not professional, yes?
What is it?
Facebook is not for professional purpose.
Right. I guess that depends on the specific position that you're applying to. Let's say I'm a graphic designer and I posted all of my information on my Facebook page. Maybe in that case. But of course, here I cannot even read. I don't even know what this information says in the CV. But either way. So here we're also saying Ola is mentioning full address provided in the contact information. That as well. Exactly. So this one has a lot of issues, right? So first of all, the picture, like many of you were mentioning, the address also is in there. Perhaps it's a lot of links and not all of them are interesting for social media. And again, guys, this is also in Europass. So some countries in Europe, we're going to check now, they do accept the Europass, but some of them do not. We normally do not recommend it. We really think that it's important to have your own CV because that's going to make you stand out. In Europass, it's kind of like everyone is the same, like in that sense, like everyone will look like it's the same like experience, the same person, and you might not be able to stand out in the process just because nowadays it's very we live in a very competitive world, so we want to make sure that we're able to stand out. Okay, next example of what not to do. So what's the issue here?
Too pale.
What is it?
Too pale.
Okay. Anything else? Nothing eye-catching, exactly. Also, if you guys check here, for instance, in the education, we have Peckham College, a lot of space, and in London. So those kind of little distractions and not having an eye-catchy CV, right? This one, I believe, also had some spelling mistakes. But yes. Last one of what not to do. What's the issue here? Let's see what we're seeing in the chat. So the font, exactly, guys. Really hard to read. What else?
And the vertical thing. hackers, all that.
Exactly, very distractive, right? So not easy to read either. Now, let's see if I can show you guys an example of a better CV. It's also not perfect. Let me see if you can see it. Of course, the picture is blurry because it was a real person and we made sure to hide it. The name also we hid it, so this is not the case. But here is an example, more or less, of a good CV. So here we have the information on the left. We have the examples of the work experience. We have software skills here, for instance, a lot of them. No soft skills in this one, I don't believe. No, but here the languages, we also have, you see here in this case, in the language it says intermediate, 1 year living in Italy. Okay, this person doesn't have a certificate, but they have something else to prove, something that the recruiter could ask, something that could perhaps be interesting for the job. And we also have education down there. Something that could be done differently here perhaps is highlighting or bolding some of those experiences, right? Because I see a lot of bullet points here, some here, one here. So perhaps making this a little bit more uniform. All right, let's go back to our presentation. All right, now guys, some fun facts. This we're not going to be going over everything because it's a lot, but if you want to take a screenshot of this or go back to the presentation once we upload it on YouTube, you would also be receiving this through email. So what we did was we interviewed a lot of recruiters coming from those specific countries that I'm going to be sharing you in different slides. And we asked them very specific questions that could be useful for you if you're wishing to apply to a job in one of these countries. So here we have Austria, we have Belgium, we have Germany, we have different countries. So those were very similar in a sense. So we can see that the picture, for instance, the profile picture is not mandatory, but a lot of them prefer to have one, right? Most of them, or some of them, they use ATS, again, the keywords. Hobbies, some of them no, some of them yes. What else? Here we can see 1 or 2 pages again per CV. Most of them here, they prefer technical skills. And here in the do's and don'ts, so you're not confused afterwards, the ones that come before are do's and the ones that come after the dash are don'ts. So most of them say add your skills, have a short CV, be detailed, add your technical skills. A lot of them saying don't have a very long CV, do not lie in your CV because they will ask you and they will find out and it will look bad on you. Don't mention your social status. So that means they don't need to know if you're married, if you have kids or your religion. They don't need to know that because that would be like biased, correct? So we don't want our recruiters to judge us on that. So those are some information for those specific countries if anyone is interested. Moving forward with countries. Now we have Spain, Portugal, Italy, France, and Malta. Those are also very similar and that's why they are in the same slide, guys, in case you're wondering. So most of them also prefer pictures. Most of them in these countries use ATS, so keep an eye on that. Some of them, they want to know your hobbies, some of them don't mind it, so it's not that important for some. Here is interesting for those who have an Europe pass, although I believe that most of you have a CV, and they are very interested in skills, guys, very interested. Okay, next group. Okay, so up here we have all of the Nordic countries. So those are very specific countries, and that's why we put them in the same category. They do not accept, in this case, Europass, at least not most of the recruiters that we've interviewed. And then below, we have Ireland and England. And here we do know that we do not include pictures. So that's the most important thing, that they do not want pictures included in the CVs. Then most of them use ATS. No hobbies needed. And here they're quite keen on having very essential information when it comes to your CV. They do not want gaps and they want details. Also in the part that says ref and C letter, that means reference and cover letter. So a lot of the countries, they still ask for cover letter. So, and most of them say, do not worry about your reference letter. If we need it, then we will ask. And I believe this is the last group. So we have Poland and Czech Republic. And then below we have Bulgaria and Greece. So guys, again, if you're interested, take a screenshot. If not, you can also go back to this presentation. Okay. Do you guys have any questions? Again, this was a 30-minute presentation. If you want, we can go back to specific topics or countries if you wanted to check again. Those are the most important things when it comes to a CV. It's your first way to introduce yourself to a company. So I don't know if you guys have any questions right now. If you don't have any questions, that we can also go over what's next in the event.
Just a small question, if I can.
Of course.
Yes. I design my CVs and my cover letter. Okay. So, but I didn't study graphic design or whatever. Okay. From those, I'm more in materials science. Okay, materials physics and physics of matters and chemistry, something like that. So, how could I include that I designed that CV? Is it good to put like I designed, like designed by me?
I see, but you're talking about having credit for your
to show my skills like in design.
Okay. So you don't have a specific certificate, or you can put that you're interested in that, right? So that could be as part of, I don't know if it's an interest of yours that you would like to add it as a hobby, or that you want to mention that you designed the CV and you want to write down, because you could also put in your CV down there in the part saying, I don't know if it's copywriting, I have to check that. But there is a way for you to mention that you've designed it. Yes. Also, if you're interested, and we talked about not using templates overall, but there are some templates that you can also edit, right? So for instance, Canva, that I'm sure that you know, and it's free. You can use the templates and redesign them. So in that sense, but if it's important for you, the job that you're applying to, and you want to mention that you have these skills, then you can always add them.
Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
I think we have some questions in the chat or not. So we have here Saad saying, can we not do the CV more than 2? Okay, so when it comes to the pages again, guys, most companies, they prefer 1 to 2 pages maximum. So we wouldn't recommend having more than 2. So I don't know, Saad, if you have a specific question on that, if you have a lot of experience. Normally, if you have a lot of years of experience, we say 2 pages, but we wouldn't recommend more than that. I saw Anastasia here also saying, please, could you pass through that catch eye CV? But what part of the CV? The ATS? What is it that you have questions about?
You have sent a moment ago some CVs that were quite catch eye, very nice. The work experience, the timeline, the languages that that person speaks, and the soft skills were right in the left hand side. If you had any others like this one.
So you
and
mean
the last question was what does ATS mean?
Right. Okay, so this is the CV first of all, no?
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Of course. So here it is. And when it comes to ATS, does anyone want to tell Anastasia what is ATS? Anyone? Elif mentioning here in the chat, application tracking system. So it's basically a system that companies use to be able to select specific CVs based on keywords. Again, those keywords are specific words that are very important for the recruiter. So Anastasia, if you're applying to a communication position and they are interested in people that know about content writing, have experience speaking with people, they will add those words like communication, copywriting, writing in the system, and they would be able to select CVs that include those keywords in their CVs. So that's easier for companies that receive hundreds or thousands of applications and the recruiters are not able to go over every CV. So this is mostly done by multinationals just because of that.
And is it something like a program that, let's say, from those hundreds and thousands CVs, extracts those words from the CVs, or?
Yes, exactly.
The first time that I hear this.
No, yes, it's important. It's a good question because it's something that's very used nowadays in Europe as well. And it is something that the companies use. It is a system, it's a software. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and those out loud keywords that you're saying, do they come out from a specific part of the CV, let's say education or languages or soft skills, or they scan the whole documents and they come out? Is it a specific part of the CV that these words should be?
So normally, Anastasia, the companies, they scan the entire CV. And if we think about it, theoretically, we don't know, right? But let's say a company is looking for someone that speaks mandatory German as a mother tongue, right? Okay. So they will check for the word German perhaps in the CV. So it doesn't matter where like it is because every CV is formatted. It's like, maybe I have languages in the left, maybe I have languages in the right? So they will be searching for that specific word.
Okay, so in the whole document will be that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's preferable to be a PDF format, not a photo format of the CV.
Normally PDF.
Yeah. Because I believe that automatically then a photograph of the CV will come out without any words. It's blank. Okay, thank you very much, Eric.
Yes, of course. I see here Alexandra asking if we would include references available upon request in the CV. So we do not normally need to do that. I would use the space for something else because normally when companies they ask for references, they are normally in the job application. So they will ask you at any moment. But if you have references and you want to add them and the company has a space to upload your CV and any other documents, then you can make sure to add that as well.
Hello, I do have also a question. I wanted to know, for example, that our CV should be tailored to the position we are applying for, correct? So sometimes if we tailor to the position we are specifically applying to, and maybe in the work experience section, many gaps, a time gap might appear. Will that affect the credibility of the CV?
So it normally depends on, it's a good question because that goes by the recruiter, right? So if they liked your CV and they liked your experience and you have a tiny gap, they will probably ask you in the interview. You know, they'll probably see like, okay, I noticed that from this year to this year, you worked for this company, you did this, but then for 6 months, I don't know, it wasn't sure. So what did you do then, you know? And so many people in Europe, for instance, they have different reasons why, or I was looking for a different job, or I was working on my skills doing, I don't know, different webinars, or I decided to travel to a different country to gain cultural experience for this purpose, you know, so they will normally ask you. But if you can avoid them, then do it. But obviously, again, let's not lie. And if it's a tiny gap, they will probably ask you in the interview if they're interested in your application.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. I see here Francini asking, I've heard that using highly customized templates can make it harder for the ATS to read your CV. Yes, so it depends on the ATS, but that's why we normally say to avoid using specific templates, right, and to have your own. This is also one of the reasons, but again, if you have the keywords that they are looking for, then that's perfect. But ATS, as it's something technological, it's also getting better, improving with time. So that should probably change soon. I see here Sadhana saying, who can you generally use as references in your CV? So let's say I'm a student, so you can use a mentor that you had, that can be a professor, that can be someone as part of your department, that could be in, I don't know, if you have career centers, that can be a person that works there. It's normally a mentor. And let's say it's an internship. So again, your buddy, right? The person that was training you, the person that was most in touch with you. If it's a full-time job, that it can be your boss if you had one. If you don't have a boss, then probably the director. So normally someone that's in a higher position than you, but we've also seen cases of colleagues as well, someone that worked with you in a project, someone that normally can really talk about your experience, your professional experience. All right, guys, we have 2 more minutes. If anyone has any other questions, if not, I'm going to share also the screen with you so you can check our email in case you have any questions. Hi guys, if you're looking for a job right now in any country in Europe, we also have an app, the Go Places app, that you can download at Google Play or in the App Store. It's free and it's very easy to apply to offers. Once you have your CV here ready after our webinar, you just swipe right to apply to positions, left to discard them. There is an option to save jobs. You can check the companies, you can check jobs with your languages in specific countries, in specific cities, work from home as well. And if you're big in social media, I don't know why we're missing TikTok in there, but we have a lot of followers on TikTok and many cool positions on a daily basis, and also on our LinkedIn as well. And if you have any questions that don't come up right now, here's our email, candidates@europelanguagejobs.com. If not, also feel free to add me on LinkedIn, and I will be more than happy to assist you guys.
Thank you so much for the nice presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aria. Have a nice day.
Thank you, you as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Thank you.